when it became obvious I was connected to the dragons was a combination of Yap's work, because I just literally just started dabbling into this book, reading the first few chapters of it on dragons, which helped me piece some things together. And then the logo automatically became the dragon on Wisdom Spirit Ranch. I didn't know why yet.
Oh.
And then after we activated the first chakra, the dragons came in, and that's why we have Zion on there. So they just started showing up. Then we were led to like Jerry in February, right? And he's all about dragons are a big part of his work. And I started piecing the pieces together. So the dragons are considered original creators and protectors of this planet.
Okay.
I came from Cassiopeia.
Okay.
Cassiopeia is a very strong dragon planet.
Okay.
And I was a leader of dragons. So
You were?
I was.
Okay.
Because I've got, this is why I have, so Dragon Keeper.
Oh, wow.
So when this skull showed up in
May
November.
I don't have to touch it. Just, wow.
He came specially out of Mount Shasta from a vendor there. And so how that particular store owner functions is he finds these pieces and then he puts them in the back of the store. And then when somebody walks in the store, they'll start talking to him to bring them out. So he brought out Dragon Keeper. I took him back. Wayne is the store owner, and he has a huge crystal skull in the back meditation room. So I asked if I could go spend some time there and just talk with him. And the dragons came in just like full force. So I come back out. I'm like, wait, this thing is all about dragon. He goes, yeah, there's a lot of dragon energy in it. So within hours, he told me his name is Dragon Keeper.
Wow.
So he goes when I travel, he goes with me everywhere. He's kind of bossy. And so
that is the coolest.
Well, and our friend Steven, who we have developed a new relationship with, he has 1,000 acres outside of Austin that we're going to go see.
No
he has
kidding.
He has the big one like this, like big. That's also very dragon. And he's his family's developed a lot of Austin actually.
Where outside of Austin?
He's 10 miles east.
10 miles east. Oh, okay.
Just outside of the city limits.
Okay.
So he's really close to all of Elon Musk's building out there.
Gosh, it's been a while since I've been up. But cool. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So anyways, that's the dragon. So my connection just started evolving naturally. I didn't have to really try hard. I identify with them. And like I said, then we were led to Jerry's work. He does a tremendous amount with dragons. They are very dynamic. There are many different planetary systems. And they help with everything from people crossing over to healing to consciousness codes to whatever. Because they are one of the original creator forces of the God Spark.
Okay. Where do they connect with Draconian?
They don't.
They don't.
They're not the same. And people have a huge confusion process there.
Okay.
Draconian is a whole different being and a whole different beast.
Okay.
They're not connected at all.
Okay, that's good to know.
They're reptilian, but they're not dragons.
Okay, that's
yeah. Dragons have nothing to do with Draconians.
Draconian.
And they've never had anything to do with Draconians. So Draconians are their own race. They're having their own experiment, right? Of light and dark and how to manipulate. And they don't have heart chakras and stuff like that for the most part. But anyways, no relationship. And that's why I think most people get hung up is there's so much information on how negative the Draconians are. They connect them to the dragons. But even in the pictures, they don't show them as dragons. They're shown as reptilians with walking reptilians. They don't look like dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So it just happenstance.
Okay, that makes sense. What does your family think of this? You doing this? Is anybody in your family connected to dragons and extraterrestrials?
Yeah, no. It's extraterrestrials. Yeah, my kids are really open to that kind of stuff. But we have not. I'm not.
Dragons with wings.
Brothers and sisters.
Yeah, nobody in the family that I'm aware of.
Okay, so it's not a. I guess I'm wondering through families. That is really cool. Is it a family line?
He was on camera.
Well, yeah, but then he's blocking everything else. So
that's cool.
It's my spirit family lineage.
Okay, that's what I guess that's what I was wondering. Our earthly families
have nothing to do with
their spirit. Really? Okay.
For the most part, no. I mean, my kids are more open to things naturally that, but it has I can have a completely different spiritual lineage
Mhm.
and awareness and purpose and destiny than my children, my brother, my sister, my mother, my father. We don't have to be in that
Interesting.
group. Our soul families are our spirit lineage.
Okay.
And that's a whole different vibration. That's a whole different recognition and awareness. So if you're going to try finding that connection within your immediate family, don't count on it.
Wow. Okay. That's
That helps.
awesome for me.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Because I've put so much importance on that,
yeah, no.
and it's messing me up.
Well, yeah, it will, because
She
you're
actually
expecting
has
them
a-
to do stuff that they're not.
Yeah,
They are
it's
just no awareness or no
like
desire or
things that
interest.
don't make sense. Like, yeah, okay, that's
That's why
huge.
That's why you go to LA conferences and you
Right.
meet people and you're going, oh my God, I've known you forever. Yeah, that's the reason why we do go to a few conferences. We do, because I'm super energetically sensitive. So big groups is not the healthy thing for me. But that's how it works great for him, because that's his DNA.
Uh-huh.
Right? He's an extrovert, so he can go into crowds and it feeds him, because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to that's part of. It's not negative. It's just that's how he is supposed to be.
I'm an extrovert, and that took it out of me.
Really?
Whew, that was
Well,
intense.
That was
you're an
intense.
extrovert, but you're also very sensitive, right? So
I
it's a
am very
combination
sensitive.
of that. I'm an extrovert, and I think I've got some thick skin on me about it, other people's energies. Sometimes when I was a little bit earlier in my path, I was more let's just say sensitive. But I think as I've gotten older, either I become a little bit more crusty or whatever. I don't feel the negative energies around me as much.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like either I'm not feeling it, or it's bouncing off of me,
Or it's
something.
probably bouncing off of, well, that would be my, in the past, I could handle anything. Negativity, or like, pfft. Well, I felt like I could carry, I had enough positivity that any negativity would bounce off me, like you said. Now, after going through some stuff, I feel like I'm more sensitive. I don't feel like my shield is as strong as it used to be.
And I've had to strengthen my shield.
Yeah.
It's
a definite.
Well, he's been in a huge learning curve, because he also still can't ignore the messages he's getting about people who are dark, and he should spending time with them, just so we can, yeah, bang on his book on dragons. And that's so we're all in a learning process, and it's a lot of what we've gone through in real high intensity in the last couple of years is really being able to recognize what's dark and what's not, because they're so good at pulling the covers over to make themselves look like, whether it's a family member or a friend or just the guy you met at the conference, make them look like they're light when they're not.
Right.
And so,
like we were talking last night, where I said I've met people and I'm like, oh, everybody's nice, and then I get, whoa, no, they're not.
No, they're not. And it'll be interesting to see how that starts being talked about and discussed. So what we found, so here's an example. What we found was when people step into a Tibetan bowl with a master, they can't stand to sit in the energy if they have darkness within them. They can't. They just skedoodle.
Really?
If you're doing like these pieces here, you put that in the hand of somebody who's got darkness, they can't hold it.
So I don't have any darkness. Sorry, not to make it all about me. But
Well,
right this second, I kind of need some.
Yeah, so
reassurance.
there's different things that are showing up right now that they can't sit in that vibration, because the vibrations are increasing so fast here that they can't handle it.
It's exciting. Do you hear that little
Yeah, and not only that though, they're getting nastier and nastier at the same time, right? Because they're losing more and more power. They're being seen more. One of their, so we have now friends that have been helping us with moving through the darkness stuff, because they can see through many dimensions. That's not my skill set, at least not at this point, but that's their skill set. They can see many dimensions, so they can see where the dark energies are and how they're getting through and the pulling they're coming through. And they're with them being able to see through the veils. And one of the things they shared with me is, so I can't see them, I feel them.
Okay.
And the last time I talked with Wendy, she was like, they're really pissed at you because they're there.
Oh, okay.
And this is pissing them off. So they've like tried every trick under the book
to get to you,
to try and get under the covers and to hide themselves. And so, there's things that are starting to become aware. So listen to your your flags and triggers when they go off,
Mm.
because it is your intuition recognizing there's something not right here,
Yeah.
but you don't have words for it, you don't have a visual for it.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to really trust that inner barometer
Mm-hmm.
about. And if you look back, there might have been a moment we went, shit, that's out of sequence. Something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And now
I get those pretty strongly. I feel like my intuition's pretty strong.
Mhm.
Typically, are the dragons the guardians of? Are they 11th dimension?
Yeah, they're all different dimensions, really, but they're guardians of the creator source. So they are at all different. They're at all different galaxies and cosmos, and they're at all different levels. That's my
Okay.
understanding. But we're obviously mostly focused on ours.
Not just Earth, not just this universe.
No.
Like,
Broad
Yeah.
spectrum. So they're reestablishing their guardianship here on the planet,
okay.
because it was cut off with all the darkness.
Mhm.
So a lot of the portals of energetic portals, like the one that are on Wisdom Spirit Ranch, why it's so unique is those have been seeded millions of years ago. And we are literally in a time cycle right now where they can actually be activated and open again, because they were either closed by dark,
Mhm.
and it's like multiple layers. It's like the light closed them because the dark was coming, but then like the dark put their own seal on them.
Okay.
So you have to go through all kinds of different layers to actually activate them. I can't go in there and activate them, for instance. It's not one person. It's all about the teams, the families coming together, the spiritual families coming together at those power points at specific times to do the next level of activation and opening of those portals.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So like we did a major one there. Well, we did 4 or 5 there. And then on the eclipse, we had a major one in the main portal as well. So there's different timelines that we don't necessarily know, but we just show up there and then they happen.
What is it about time right now? I mean, just in the universe, multi-universe, whatever. What is it about right now that's awakening them?
Awakening the dragons.
Well,
or the portals?
the portals.
It
what
has
is it?
been written. So that's how I receive it. Is it has been written. These are timelines. These are codes. These are all of that have been written from way back when, that were safeguards. Is how I would put it.
Mm-hmm.
So if this happens, and this happens, and we come around to this time frame, then we have the opportunity for these gateways and this level of consciousness to awaken again. And then humanity has to be at a certain level to receive it, and then act on it, live it, be it, in order for us to pull ourselves out of the darkness of the 3D back into the 5D dimension.
How cool that we live right now.
How
I
cool!
mean,
This is
How
a
cool!
really cool time.
How cool!
Yeah.
Like,
think about that. We could have been born in the dark ages.
oh my gosh!
Oh, we were born. And I mean, the
Right.
war and the disrespect for humanity that humans have been overlaid with is upsetting. I mean, for me, ever since I was a child, I don't understand war. I don't get war. There's no purpose to it. I don't care who did what to win and how many frickin' million years ago it happened. It's irrelevant because we're now in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as long as you live in the past, and that shows in these wars all the time, as long as you live in that past, you are going to live in darkness.
Right.
Because that's what's seated there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's seated in your memories. That's what's seated in your belief systems that you're holding on to. You have to pull yourself up into the present moment. It's just part of the process of being conscious.
Which is difficult.
It is difficult.
Well, it can be, and it has been. Yeah, it can be difficult.
Yeah. There's been many different processes. I mean, there's a lot of healing modalities that help with it. Not that they'll all work, or that everyone has a different coding sequence. That some things work for one person, won't work for another. Whether it's past life regression or Reiki or whatever. I mean, there's just a gazillion different modalities out there. But having awareness that there's a block and you can't get to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the start of the journey, and
Okay.
you'll find that people will show up in your reality that have the tools that you're looking for and needing. So you have to pay attention, but you also have to watch for the snakes in the grass, because they see opportunity when it comes to spiritual consciousness. Because if they're a good talk,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to be conscious to do it. They can make bullshit up all day long, and just.
Yeah.
People will feed into it. I mean, just walking around the LA conference, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
there was a number of just displays and speakers and stuff, and you just look at it and you go, man, this just doesn't feel right. You don't have to know why it doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
Just know it's not your deal. It's not
Okay.
your. It's not your family. It's not your teaching. It's not your healer. It's not your,
Mhm.
your next step. It's just your system saying no, not it. No, not it.
Yeah.
It's,
There's plenty of that there. I mean, I
well,
felt.
there's many. There's many. There's some there who are definitely there to deceive and get
Yeah.
money and deceive. There,
Yeah.
but there's many there for different families, right? You have the main spectrum of star families, from the Palladians, Arcturians, Sirians, to Lyrians, to Palladians, to that are the primary ones here, Alpha Centaurians, that play a role in this dynamic that we're living right now with opening up consciousness. They
Mhm.
all are working
Oh, okay.
together to create that new consciousness.
Is that who they refer to as the Galactic Federation?
I'm not sure who's all in the Galactic Federation, but I would not be surprised if they're not all in the Galactic Federation.
Are dragons part of it?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're
Oh.
part of this. They're part of this timeline opening of consciousness.
Okay. Are they kind of overseeing all of that?
They're protectors. So overseeing, I'm not sure if they're the overseers.
Okay, but they're the protectors. Okay, that's helpful to
Yeah.
me. That they're the
As
protectors.
as we activate each of these different
So they're not
levels,
running it. They're the protect.
they're
protectors.
responsible to make sure
Okay.
people are staying safe. Yeah.
It's a collective consciousness that all the Federation represents multiple races, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every race has their own agendas, their own needs, and all that. And this is the normalization of the governing rules
Okay.
of operating in other people's spaces, right?
NATO for
And
the
so,
universe.
so they're not like orchestrating;
Uh-huh.
they're simply making sure the rules are being enforced in that way, right?
Okay.
So the Federation also has connections in the councils, right? So they
Uh-huh.
have representation in the councils, and there's non-Federation beings that are also on council, and most of the council meetings are held off the planet of if it's one of the moons of Jupiter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and that's where they have this. There's a large space where they come in. It's a kind of a multi-dimensional space. It adjusts for the scale of the beings that come in and out of that space. And so anyway, there's some good Gaia videos on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Galactic, I'm not sure what the Galactic Federation's role is in what I'm experiencing on the ranch.
Mhm.
I don't know. Coming back to that, they do organize multiple star families, but the star families I'm working with they're not there as representatives of the Galactic Federation. They're representatives of their families. And
okay.
they have, so I'm highly connected to the Drahmanan Council. So we have our own perceptions, right? So the understanding that I'm getting from the guardians of this property is that there was an agreement made a long time ago with these star families, that they all agreed that they would come together. That's why the
Okay.
collaboration is so important. It's like the key theme for the ranch is collaboration, is that they all came together with one intent, shared intent. They all agreed that this is the purpose of them coming together, and to bring in this pure consciousness of God source again, to
Okay.
return back to that original source code, because it was infiltrated and changed and manipulated and whatever
Mhm.
over the last few million years. So just a little piece of distortion turns out to be a huge fucking piece of distortion when you go down a million years.
Mhm.
So they're trying to correct those
Okay.
changes. And a lot of those changes were done by creator gods or beings who had other intentions
Mhm.
that wanted the energy for themselves. It doesn't really matter how it happened, is that in the moment it seemed like the right thing to do.
Mhm.
It didn't turn out to be the right thing to do.
Okay.
And you had too many things going on that were changing the DNA and people's belief systems and structures and all those, different paradigms that it didn't work well.
Wow. I cannot believe how much has changed just in the past few years. I mean, in my experience anyway. I mean, just it seems like we were in such darkness, and everywhere you look, there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
That just wow.
Yeah.
Let me offer you a perspective on that, because I think it's an area that we should be sharing with other people. You'll experience the darkness that you allow, right? In
Oh,
other words, So to some degree, if you look at your journey in the last few years, right, there's obviously darkness and there's stuff happening all the time,
When
right?
I say darkness, sorry, but we'll go ahead and share that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, if I could just maybe it's
Sure.
not 100% relevant to just
Sure.
come out. We what you focus on, you see more of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you're feeling the light, it's possible that it's because you have shifted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, probable.
Right.
Right.
There's people who will. There's always darkness
Mm-hmm.
out there. There's always the negative forces that
Mm-hmm.
play into that, and it really comes down to, when we experienced COVID, for example,
Mm-hmm.
we did not experience the same. We did not have the same experience as a lot of other people
Mm-hmm.
because we did not. Julie and I, in our cocoon of space in this house in the land, we did not experience the same timeline.
Same.
Same experience was not there because we did not vibrate at that level.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people vibrating in a much deeper depths or levels, and so that's an example.
Sure.
Of so pat yourself on the back for if you're seeing more light, it's because you are focusing on more light.
Thank you. Yeah. So the darkness for sure, the emotional stuff. But when I mentioned darkness, what I meant is it seemed like everybody was stuck in these, and it's probably the same concept, but stuck in these religious and just belief systems is what I meant by darkness. I just meant lack of knowledge, lack of this kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot more. I think the internet has exploded the doors off of people's understandings because the original concept, the original esoteric teachings, which were secret and they were hidden behind closed doors, every esoteric teaching was brought out under some secrecy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Those secrets are now making it out,
right?
And they're becoming mainstream on the internet. Right? For example, I'm very much tied to Thoth, and the teachings of Thoth, the Emerald Tablets, to me is one of the places where it's becoming super general knowledge right now. It was never that way.
Right.
Even 10 years ago, it's not that way. When I first started listening to this stuff, now it's Joe Rogan is talking about it. Everybody, and then you talk about the Kabbalah, you talk the Kabbalion. All the teachings are becoming more accessible.
Right.
A perfect example is my son, who's my older son. He is now reading deeply about these things, and he's going on the internet to get something. Then he'll go research it. My guidance to him was, you're going to find a lot of talking heads. Go to the source documents.
Yeah.
Go to the source documents, find the source, right? And I think that is becoming more available, right? And it's not that Joe Rogan has anything different to say. He's just got his own spin on it.
Yeah, I love Joe Rogan.
Yeah. So people like him are making it more mainstream, and I think it's becoming more accessible for people, for others to open their minds to things that they would not have considered before, which is what my son is at. So.
Neat. He's in Austin. Joe Rogan.
Joe's in Austin.
Yeah, we met him and hung out with him a few nights.
No.
And his buddies, but yeah. Anyway.
Nice.
Got pictures anyway. No big deal. But
he's he's a voice for that generation, which they need.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
He's a voice of change, right?
I
think he resonates with a lot of young people.
He's not afraid to be who he is.
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, and that's probably the best example out there. Is a lot of us are coming out from underneath the veils of protection, because when we were born, 4 years ago, man, you didn't tell people you saw things.
Totally. Even when I did, yeah,
that was.
I was I don't care what you guys think. You'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Everybody thinks I'm great. Not everybody. Some people.
Well, that's the reason why they don't understand you, is because you're on a different mission than they are, and that's not a bad or good thing. Everybody has their role here, but trying to find acceptance from somebody who doesn't even have a clue what you're talking about is not ever going to happen. Don't waste your time there.
Right.
Don't waste your time, and it will just take you down. And so one of the most critical things, and we do this as a practice every year, is look at the circle of friends we're on and who are we circling with this year that we circled with, in the previous years. And that circle will change and then come back around.
Sure.
As they're going through their learning and teachings. I mean, we have people that we won't see for 2 or 3 years because we're all doing our our own growing thing and
Mhm.
our own, connecting to different groups, and then we'll come back and go, oh yeah, it's good seeing you again.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
circle of friends
that's
are
really
also
interesting.
family.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
especially family. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
want to be around them because they're the least to listen to, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it's neat.
Don't waste your breath.
Right.
Come around on their own.
Oh yeah.
If it hadn't been for my sister being with me when we saw the mothership, I guess you would call. I mean, that thing was mild. I don't know how big it was. It was massive. But if it hadn't been for her, I don't even.
Yeah, exactly.
I probably would have questioned it myself.
Mhm.
Been like, did I really experience all that?
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
did.
that's common. A lot of times when there's two people see, one will completely deny and one will accept.
No, she admits it.
No,
But
Yeah.
my ex-husband even remembers all the missing time.
oh wow.
Was he with you?
No, so I was. We were driving back to Arizona. He had his LSAT. What do they take medical? He had just finished medical school, and he had to take the big test to graduate the next morning. So it was Sunday night. We were driving back, and I was supposed to be home about midnight, and we didn't get home till the sun was coming up. And he was over at my mom's house before cell phones. He and my mom were awake in the kitchen. Where have you guys been? Where have you been? We're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He was so mad because he had to go. He had to leave there and go straight to go take his test. He's like, been up all night. We were calling hospitals, and I didn't remember it at all for 10 years. And then my sister and I remembered it at exactly the same moment. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
There was a block on your memories. Yeah.
Oh
How
yeah.
much time did you lose?
5 hours, 6 hours.
5 or 6
5 or
hours.
6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we remembered it at the same exact time. That ship was massive. It was massive, and I have a memory of floating over the desert. I think I may have told you about this, but I don't know if I was in my body or not. But I was looking down at the desert, moving towards the ship, and the thing was lit up. It was so bright, but you couldn't tell where the light was coming from, but it was, lit up brightly underneath. And so I'm floating over the desert going towards the ship, and I could see every little grain of sand, sprig of, weed, whatever. Just I saw every little thing so vividly, and my body. I remember even driving away from it. My sister and I didn't talk at all. Hands on the wheel, and I was just in this, just euphoric, just complete hypnosis, euphoric. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, there are times when I have an experience and it's like I become hyper aware. I'm seeing in HD, so it's behind definition.
Sure.
It's actually whatever my body's experiencing. You know how it is when you're and almost in an accident.
Sure.
That you're seeing things at 60 frames a second, right? So it makes it seem like everything's slowed down, but it's actually the detail. I will see the grain of sand. I'll see the spiggle, right? So I have those experiences. That means that your physiology is hyper aware.
Sure.
Right. And
sure.
You're recording everything, and they're super high frame rate.
Yeah.
And that says something different was going on.
Yeah, and I told you about the time I was dead asleep in my brother's trailer in his backyard, and dead asleep, and I woke up and something told me to go outside, and I did. So I walked out, and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to get my camera. Walked back in, grabbed my phone, and I just start recording the sky. I'm like, okay. It was 4 in the morning, 3:30, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I start recording the sky, and there all of a sudden tons of little lights flashing. And I had it on. I can't believe I deleted it. And then out of the corner of my eye, I see this bright flash, and I turn, and it was a meteorite coming through the sky.
Wow.
And it was a massive news story, nationwide news story. This big meteor came through, and I had it on video. And the only video of it that the news could show was like a business cameras or something caught it, black and white. And here I had it live. It was like anyway.
How long ago was this?
That would have been okay. Probably 10 years ago. Okay.
Yes, because I hadn't heard that. Because what we've been more exposed to was the capping of the planetary system at the minimum, but part of this galaxy, and it's because the darkness was looshing off the energy. And that kept us in that recycling mode on top of it. So we kept repeating the same crap. And this whole thing about karma, really, I have a question about because it would have to be completely connected to their programming. Because it's karma that creates the angst and
right
to
You have to come
eye
back.
for an eye and that kind of
You
Sure.
have to come back and clear your karma. Well,
Yeah.
guess what?
Is that true?
I don't believe it.
I don't know. It doesn't feel,
Well, especially when most of the karma is created by interference, not by free will.
Not by what?
Free will.
Oh,
Most of us lost
Oh,
our
right.
free
That
will a
makes
long
sense.
time ago. I mean, we talk about free will all the time, but we're so inundated with belief structures, political system, religious systems, that we don't live in free will at all. We're completely living underneath this cap of fear, whatever they're
Right.
projecting on
You're
us.
absolutely right.
So there's
Yeah.
so it's you can't be held accountable for something that you can't see because it's embedded in your unconsciousness.
We're like babies. You can't get mad at babies for
wanting to be fed. Yeah. So and they've they've put different chips in our body, especially in our back of our necks, spinal cords by the mouth of God, that they're actually running our programs. And so those take a lot of work to break through. So, so it's, that's my perspective. My perception doesn't mean it's the correct perception of what karma is, but free will, we're barely touching what the hell free will
that
is.
makes that resonates with me. What you said, just I hadn't thought of that till now, but that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, we really don't.
So when you come back in town,
okay,
we'll do a video just on the karma cycle and what I have discovered on how to break it.
Okay.
As a technique, I want to actually put it on a video on its own segment.
Okay, cool.
So remind me when you're done.
Cool, thank you.
It includes lucid dreaming.
Oh, I'm a lucid dreamer.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be that's one option that Tim uses for himself. I think there's many. As far as getting just down to the true nuts and bolts of who you are. And like I said, that shows up when you're in places, you're meeting people, you get your next teacher, you get your next piece of information, you get the next level gets peeled off that you haven't been able to see. All that is part of it as well.
You guys have been huge for me. I mean, this is, second time hanging out, and already I'm just, you guys are huge. This is cool.
Just remember 10% of it. You're good to go.
Right.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's nice to talk about it because most people can't get it, number one. They don't even know how to ask the question, number two. And number three, most of humanity just isn't ready. They, as much as they may hate their lives and how they're living in this cycle of not being able to do what they really feel fulfilled in, not living their true spirit, their true destiny, however you want to frame it, doesn't matter. They still have, that's part of the dilemma of the programming, right? To break free from that, to do what nobody else is supporting you to do until you can get into the right families.
I'm looking for a pen. My dad, my whole life, said, always remember who you are. Always remember who you are. And he would sign his letters ARWYA. And always remember who you are.
Fascinating.
And I spent so many nights, usually after drinking all night or something, just out partying. I'd just stare in the mirror. I was just going to write, always remember who you are. Like, just how my dad did it. Just, he would sign everything, love you, always remember who you are. And I didn't quite get it, but I spent many years in the mirror looking deep in my eyes going, who are you? Like, who are you? I mean, I know who I am. I know my values and morals, and I know, but who am I? I've done that for so long, and I guess I'm still on the search for that. But
Share with you what my son shared with me.
from the peeling of the layers. You start